specifically in regards as a means for making advancement to try and associate with mature, substantial, advanced devotees. Okay,
so Prabhu, when we start, I have a question before we your prayers, then we can, I have a...
Yeah, let's just identify where we are first to save time. That normally takes. So we're on Nectar of Instruction. Anyone have a specific place?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Who's chanting?
Krishna.
Someone's chanting.
Who's chanting?
Okay, so we're on verse. Which verse we on?
Yeah, I'll just bring it up. Nectar of Instruction.
Text
We
5.
are starting. One therefore has to arise himself from the position of Kanishta and Adhikari.
It's text 5, is that right?
Yeah.
One therefore
has to arise himself from the position of Kanishta to Adhikari.
Okay. Yeah, what's the symptoms of a Madhyabadikari? Is that they have knowledge about scripture, so that's a, okay. No, I can't see it. When I'm following, is this correct? No.
But it's one of the prayers just above the Ishvara, whatever, I can't. Yeah, the one above that. One therefore has to rise himself from the position of Kanishta.
Okay, I've got it.
Why don't we start with the whole, from the translation? Because it's not that much.
The translation of what?
Of this text 5.
Oh, so start again at the purple.
Yeah, because we've only gone two paragraphs.
Okay. I'm fine with that, no problem. So let's offer some prayers to Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Pada Krishna Vastai Putale Shmati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline. Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Satarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so Savannah Radhika, you had a question to...
Yes, I did, but if we're going to start with the chapter again, so it'll come up and I'll ask then.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
All right, what I'll do is I can read the verse, and then I can see Avalavanga's hand is there, so she can read first. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who has advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Okay, some very nice instructions for us. Yes, so Mavalavanga, you can read perhaps the first paragraph and then one more.
In order to intelligently apply the sixfold loving reciprocation mentioned in the previous verse, one must select proper persons with careful discrimination. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore advises that we should meet with the Vaishnavas in an appropriate way, according to their particular status. In this verse, he tells us how to deal with the three types of devotees, the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte who has received the Harinam initiation from the spiritual master and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. One should respect such a person within his mind as a Kanishta Vaishnava. A Madhyama Adhikari has received spiritual initiation from the spiritual master and has been fully engaged by him in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Madhyama Adhikari should be considered to be situated midway in devotional service. The Uttama Adhikari, or highest devotee, is one who is very advanced in devotional service. An Uttama Adhikari is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean, and he has attained the realized state of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, the association and service of such a Mahabhagavata or perfect Vaishnava are most desirable. One should not remain a Kanishta Adhikari, one who is situated on the lowest platform of devotional service and is interested only in worshipping the deity in the temple. Such a devotee is described in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11.247. A person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave toward devotees or people in general, is called a Prakrita Bhakta or Kanishta Adhikari.
Perhaps we'll just pause there.
Yeah.
Just one thing came to mind as we was reading this first paragraph. This is a general description, this is the general path that you will see that devotees will follow. First of all, as Prabhupada says here, they will be trying to chant the holy name. Yeah. A Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte who has received Harinam, so he's received Harinam initiation, and is endeavoring to chant without offense. Yeah. And then Prabhupada goes on, but something to consider here is that just because someone has just received Harinam Diksha and they're trying to chant, I could say they're trying to chant, or they've just taken, or say so then we can consider that if they haven't taken Diksha, according to this definition here, then they are considered to be within the realm of Kanishta. Yeah. And then they take Diksha, Harinam Diksha specifically, not Brahman, but Harinam Diksha. They're considered in the same category. But something to perhaps be aware of and careful of is that some devotees or someone might be joining and they may be taken up from a last life at quite an advanced stage. So they may well be Madhyam, or even, we could say, theoretically, Uttam. Of course, that will become kind of obvious, but we should be a bit careful when we're trying to, when we hear this type of subject, we should be careful that we don't become too judgmental. Oh, this person's, this person hasn't taken Diksha, he must be a Kanishta. Yeah. Be a bit careful, how we apply it, and that just came to mind as reading, and it may be that generally, someone for one reason or another, even though they've taken Harinam Diksha, then they may take Diksha, which is Brahman, and somehow or another, due to offenses or whatever it may be, they may remain on the level of Kanishta for many, many years, 10, 20, unfortunately, years. That's also there as well. So these things, and these things are other considerations as well. But as a general rule, this is how the process will work, as a general rule. All right, just thought I'd mention that.
Okay. My question, Prabhu.
Yeah. Do we
Okay.
get any question?
Because this is the 3 levels we're talking about. How does taking to Diksha process, how effective is our nature towards being serious towards becoming a Krishna conscious person, towards fellow devotees, towards learning? How much of an effect does one's nature play on it? I find it quite strange, where I think we read in here that when you are a neophyte, you pay obeisances to them in your mind, in your heart, right?
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada says that's what Rupa Goswami says, one should mentally honor anyone who chants, who has chanting the holy name. You should have respect for them.
So what is
One of them
the
is in the way.
what is the cause when the Vaishnav etiquette completely goes out of the window and you are extremely rude because what you just touched, maybe bringing it from past life or being in the process of taking up Krishna consciousness? How does one's nature play in dealing with another devotee? And what is the process to correct it? Am I making any sense?
I think so. I can try and address it and what you're
Okay.
saying.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we're not like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, when he took diksha from Ishvara Puri, he immediately became overwhelmed with ecstatic love of God.
Yes.
That's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and
Yeah.
that's the result of him taking diksha. So that may not necessarily happen with us, yeah, but still the process of diksha is very powerful. And regardless of where we are or where we are not, the very fact that you're coming before the guru and you're bowing down and you're making vows, that in of itself is a sign of great sincerity, which most people on planet Earth do not come to.
Yeah.
But still, as we all experience, we have to go through what's called anartha nivritti. So there will be things will come up, and sometimes devotees may, or sometimes it may be seen that devotees get overwhelmed with the lower modes of nature, ignorance and passion, and they may not always act like devotees. Yeah, but we should have it's good to have a mood of compassion and understanding, even if we should give devotees, this sounds strange, but we should give devotees space to not always act like devotees. Same as we would want others, if we're going through a bit of a difficult time, we would like it if devotees could not kind of, I don't know, condemns a strong word.
Yeah.
So devotees in general, the path is going to be in relationship to how we apply ourselves, our conditioning, how much we're affected by the modes, how much we're associating properly, how much we're chanting the holy name attentively. All these things will play a factor or play a role. And if somehow or other if we may be chanting nicely, but we may not, if we're chanting nicely, we should associate nicely with devotees. But sometimes it may not happen. Someone may be very studious, studying, but they may be very rough in their interaction with the devotees. So there's many factors which actually play a role in how a devotee, or what is their disposition. So generally, you're gonna observe that you're gonna see sometimes devotees may be in a bad space for 1 or 2 years, but then they come through it, and they're through it, and they're in a different, what's it called, headspace.
But
Yeah.
Prabhu, they do not come to a better space unless they are guided, or unless, hypothetical, if that's me, I will, if I am sincere in my practice, I will ask, in my case, I will go to Chandravali because she's my mentor, that I need help. And generally, the ego comes in, that we don't want to ask, how do we make progress? This is a very serious subject because I'm talking about myself, I'm not talking about anyone else. But there must be someone that can actually correct me. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, that's correct. And I know Mother Devika, your god sister,
Yes.
she does this wonderful seminar. She's speaking about how sometimes we don't really make use of the principle of taking shelter, of humbling oneself before a devotee. We're not, especially in the West, not so used to that. But that is the process. Is that that is the process that says that we should have we should have a relationship with someone that person can guide us. Yeah, I'm just agreeing with what you're saying. That should be there. But sometimes it may be also that may not be there for one reason or another, circumstantially. It may live in a place, or it may be circumstantially that's not there. But if they're sincere, then Krishna will guide them from within the heart as well. If they're sincere, then they will. Then Krishna, as a purport in Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada says, even if one doesn't have the option to actually to take shelter of a spiritual master, if they're sincere in their practice, Krishna is going to guide them.
That bit of sincerity is a very personal thing between you and Krishna. Nobody else knows how sincere I am apart from Krishna. All my actions will speak. That's another way of finding out of the sincerity. But really, real sincerity, I think, is between Krishna and you. How sincere and determined you are.
Also, sincerity can be seen. Say if someone, even if someone has difficulties in spiritual life, and they're going through a difficult phase of their spiritual life, but they still keep on practicing.
Yes.
That means they're sincere. Or even if they fall down.
Yes.
And they stay in association, even if circumstantially unplanned and unpremeditated, they may fall down, but they still chant holy name. They still stay in association with devotees, and they have to and they have to get the censure of devotees to fall down. That person's sincere.
But then, just as an example, as a head pujari, you used to come and you generally would come and check everything is okay, people who are doing their service.
Well,
and if you found,
not as often as they should.
No, but if you found something, like for example, there were a couple of times I didn't have my head net, you pointed, so you corrected me.
Yeah.
I didn't take an offense to that. My ego didn't come in that. Is it because I respected you as this is an example, Prabhu, and this is what I'm trying to get my head around. Is it in the nicest possible way? Tell a devotee, you know what, maybe you should think about this, because it's never taken in the sincere way that you're trying to tell them. And if you're not checked, if I am not checked, I will not know any better.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that. We
can't, because it's like example I'll give. A child is trying to learn to walk. The mother will catch the finger and show them how to take the first step. So it's our own personal ego that comes in, that we don't want to be corrected or we don't want to be told. How do we overcome that?
Only Prabhu, I was thinking,
let's hear some other voices on this.
I'm thinking like your chanting is the base of everything. The better your chanting is, you'll find everything, even your anastas. You'll be doing something. After a while, you'll see you won't be doing that, or you'll be thinking about it, not to do it. Like say on auspicious days or something, you do something, then you will think about it the next day. Okay, I should do it in a different way. This is all coming from Krishna from within. You just have to, your sadhana has got to be really good.
But I will just make a simple observation here. All of us here and everywhere, we actually tend to use Krishna very cheaply by saying, oh, it's Krishna's mercy. Oh, it's Krishna's way. Actually, it is desirous. Our sincerity is not total. I'm simply talking about myself. Sometimes it's an easy route or an easy statement to make. Oh, it's Krishna's mercy. Oh, Krishna wanted it like that. We do use it quite cheaply.
Yeah, I think different subjects are coming up here, but I think that's just I mean if we are in that mentality, just like
Yeah.
Arjuna was
Yeah.
when he surrendered to Krishna and he admitted he didn't know what to do. I was
Yeah.
watching this on the class on Nityananda Trayodasi. And then we will make advancement will be quicker, yeah, because we're taking shelter of the Vaishnavas. But if we're not practiced at that, our advancement will generally be slower because we won't be because we're not seeking the association and the advice of more experienced Vaishnavas. So things will just be more slower. So that's why we should learn the culture of, for instance, says this was Mother Devika. I forget the title of the presentation she gives in this regard, but actually, Taking Shelter it's called, and she's got a book on that subject. So did that kind of, I don't know if we addressed your question. Basically, we're agreeing with what you're saying. We're agreeing with the point you're bringing up. It's important that we, as Vaishya Sekar says, that we live to be corrected.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's how we can make advancement.
Can I quickly?
Yeah, Jamavati, please.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. I do understand my sister Suvarna, and this is very vital question. And almost every devotee who approached me with the same question, and this is my forever question and dilemma. But what is it? This is comes, and of course we cannot to put too much weight on Krishna, and Krishna sort out my life or my relationships or devotees. But we, of course, I'm not in a position to anything. How to say, to give any suggestion or just insights for my dear sister. But because when we see other person, everybody comes with their own karma, everybody comes with their own issues, and everybody has their childhood traumas. Yeah. And for example, I can say personally, I have going through hell with relationships many. That's why I was so aware, and I said I don't want to how to say, to lose taste in Krishna consciousness. I'd rather be aside the temple and devotees instead of mixing and fighting and everything. But for example, my example, when my daughter-in-law, she joined our family, yeah, every time I was asking, for example, simple, what's the time is now, yeah? I ask her a simple question, and she like, okay, yeah, you can. And she buys me like, I said, darling, I just said, what's the time? And I felt guilty for asking her, why did I ask, what's the time? Or something, how are you? If I ask, how are you? And she bites my head, And I was thinking, what's happening? Why? What? I'm not your enemy. I haven't done anything wrong to you. And of course, and because it was her overcoming from childhood traumas, she didn't know how to react. She didn't know. And this is culture as well, for culture, to humiliate anybody. Anyone who asks you anything, she has to give snap. It's culture. So it was hard work to see what she's going now. And she saw different picture and different culture. And these people who, for example, have trouble in communicating, I would say, probably they lack just association of our culture with people of our culture, something, that's it. But we have to understand that a person who hurts or behaves in bad manner or whatever, he's struggling himself. It means he's suffering. Because if somebody is happy, look at Murli Prabhu. He's always happy. He has no problems. It's a pleasure to look at him. Yeah, it means he has no problems. Yeah. So and another question quickly, because if in Pujari or any Pujaris or devotees start fighting, don't worry, my sister Savarna, Krishna will put to place. I've seen many times, because in our temple it was senior Pujari. Every Pujari was crying. It was torture. You cannot imagine, because this is England. This is a little bit higher culture, yeah. But in post-Soviet country, it was culture non-existent, yeah. We were eating alive each other, and Pujaris were suffering. Yeah, they were so suffering.
No? You can't eat each other alive.
No, but it was terrible. It was terrible condition. And you know what is it? And we were praying, and we thought it must stop. Krishna, please stop, because we can't take it anymore. And you know what happened? Pujari was standing, she was doing something, and the vase, it was shelves, but very thick shelves. They not flaky, and very heavy glass vase fell on her head. From nothing, it wasn't any movement, nothing moved, just from nothing. She felt, and she went to the hospital, she had to sue and everything. And when she realized that Krishna gave her snap to realize that she can't behave in that manner with the devotees. So never happens, nothing happens for a reason. So just be patient, if anything. And from my experience, I've seen so much that I'm praying for those people who bite or anything. I'm just praying for them because I feel sorry for them.
So I think we can conclude that ultimately Krishna, he's the ultimate controller. So there may be
Yes,
some
yes.
situations where it's difficult for us to adjust or to address the problem.
Yes,
for
yes,
one
exactly.
reason or another. So therefore, we have to kind of take a back seat as maybe and Krishna, Krishna is the ultimate purifier of everyone, and he's going to arrange circumstances or situation, as you just gave. It was quite drastic, but yeah.
Thank you, Guru.
The devotees can reflect,
Yeah, I can just hear Jambavati, and it's exactly the same. I see that things go in your life, but you just have your faith in Krishna, and that same situation changes in time. And those devotees who do hassle you, you can see difficulties coming along,
Yeah.
It does happen. You're right, it does happen. But you have to be firm and tolerate and, do according to your Krishna conscious ways,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I
Yes.
just wanted to ask you something on that. But for some reason, you are in that situation because Krishna is having a different lesson for you. That's why you are in that situation. You may think, oh, the other devotees are. If you don't react, we don't get any karma. That means our karma get finished because we have our own karma. That's why we are put in that
Yeah,
situation.
basically, yeah. The more strongly we're situated in the mode of goodness,
Yeah.
then the less we're going to be affected by other persons in the mode of passion or ignorance.
Finished.
So because if we're operating in the same mode, then it's just like one person reacting against another person.
Yeah, correct.
But that's why if someone's more strongly situated in mode of goodness, then they kind of can. It's amazing. Sometimes someone can be very angry and very intense and angry and passionate. But if someone's really strongly situated in mode of goodness, and it has quite an effect on them where they can't really go anywhere with it. But yeah, we should be Krishna conscious. Yeah.
We can end what is happening to us, and Krishna has a different plan for that other person. But it is Krishna's arrangement that came together because Krishna wants to give
That's another. So
a lesson there and here, both sides.
Yeah, so Krishna's going to use the Vaishnavas to purify us.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Nice, good start to our reading today. But that's why nectar instruction is very important, because it brings up what is very important to us, and that's associating, living with, and being with Vaishnavas. And I'm sure, many devotees here, you've all been practicing many years, and you've seen many things and experienced many situations, so it's important of how to view it and how to understand it. But that's why my main, as I said in the beginning, and I think as Jambavati said, and Nitai Mata also is mentioning, is that we have to give space to devotees to not always act like devotees. We give space, of course, not as if we don't say anything at any time. It depends on the circumstance, but in general, don't be surprised if you see conditioned souls acting like conditioned souls, even if they happen to be have a sari on or dhoti. We're still conditioned souls until the level of bhava. So we shouldn't So, but it doesn't mean we don't address issues or things that are affecting the community. Then we may have to, then we should address it to the best as what we can, you know?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Right. Thank you. So, who's Jamavati, do you have your hand? Is that just for a question or for reading? You're knitting there, so perhaps
Sorry, I can be both, whatever. If you want, I can read, I can, yeah, whatever. It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay, you can read then. You read a couple of paragraphs.
Okay.
Just saw your hand up there, but
The Madhyama Adhikari is a devotee who worships the supreme personality of Godhead at the highest object of love, makes friends with the Lord's devotees, is merciful to the ignorant, and avoids those who are envious by nature. This is the way to cultivate devotional service properly. Therefore, in this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami has advised us how to treat various devotees. We can see from practical experience that there are different types of Vaishnavas. The Prakrita Sahajiyas generally chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, yet they are attached to women, money, and intoxication. Although such persons may chant the holy name of the Lord, they are not yet properly purified. Such people should be respected within one's mind, but their association should be avoided. Those who are innocent but simply carried away by bad association should be shown favor if they are eager to receive proper instructions from pure devotees. But those neophyte devotees who are actually initiated by the bona fide spiritual master and are seriously engaged in carrying out the orders of a spiritual master should be offered respectful obeisances.
okay, perhaps we're just pause there. Any reflections on this? There's something which struck me specifically, but if anyone else has any questions on this,
I was thinking, Prabhu,
yeah.
Prakriti Sahajas generally chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, yet they are attached to women, money, and intoxication. That is very, very.
Yeah, I think we discussed that when we were speaking about upper sampradayas.
Yeah, that's right.
But I thought what was amazing about this is that Prabhupada's, Prabhupada is not speaking about the devotees who we associate with in temples and in our communities. He's speaking about persons who chant Hare Krishna, but they are maintaining attachment to women or men, whatever it may be, money and intoxication. But Prabhupada said, because they're chanting, they should be respected within one's mind.
Yeah,
Interesting, isn't it?
that's right.
Now, I was thinking in the beginning, in the verse at the beginning, Rupa Goswami says, one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord. So this is what he's speaking about. Anyone who chants the holy name of the Lord, even if they're a prakrita sahaja, engaged in these activities, because they're chanting Nam, the holy name, they should be given respect. So then what to speak, I'll just scroll down. What to speak about those who are within our Sangha and have taken initiation, you know? They are not prakrita sahajas, you know? So Prabhupada's confirming here that they should be offered respectful obeisances, vancha kalva trubhascha, kripa sindhu behavicha. Yeah.
And Prabhu, I heard in this quote, Srila Prabhupada says, this one lecture in Bhagavad Gita 5.17 or something. He
Yeah.
said, you can't now, if you utilize your tongue chanting Hare Krishna, simply sit down, even you can't chant, and let others chant. So that itself is a self-realization. What would be the best self-realization? Hearing somebody chanting.
All right, even hearing, even if you're unable,
Even you
chant.
can't chant.
yeah,
Yeah.
you sit down and yeah, if you're being kirtan.
Yeah, more
sit
feasible
down.
program. So that is a self-realization. So I was
Good.
thinking,
Wow. So that's just being with persons who are chanting.
yeah.
That's quite a high level in of itself.
Prabhu, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
please.
ask about showing respect to the sahajiyas because Prakriti sahajiyas because they're chanting the holy name.
Yeah, this is
And
within mentally.
within.
Yeah,
Okay. Because I was wondering, how does that respect manifest? Is it that we just avoid the people and think, well, they're chanting the holy name, so
that's it. Yeah.
they have that much like
If there's anything good going for them, if there is, okay, they're chanting the holy name. But Prabhupada does say that they should be avoided.
okay.
We should avoid them. We should not associate with them.
So the
But they,
respect is very minimal. It's like
yeah, just within, yeah, because they got the holy name. That's what being mentioned. Anyone who chants the holy name, that's what Rupa Goswami is saying.
Mm.
One should, but he's saying how to respect them mentally.
Mm.
And then Prabhupada explains, even if they're attached to these things, intoxication, but they're chanting a holy name, we should, yeah, respect goes a long way in Vedic culture. We should be respectful. We shouldn't be disrespectful. You know, if you see them, we shouldn't be like, and we shouldn't be antagonistic or disrespectful. You know, better just keep distant. Within mind, okay, they've got holy name, they're chanting the holy name within one's mind, and that's it. But Prabhupada does say they should be avoided. You know, that means we shouldn't hear from them. We shouldn't accept invitations for sharing prasad with them. You know, like that. We should just be respectful. Yeah. Just like you go to Vrindavan, there's all types of persons there. You know, doing all types of things, but we're respectful to everyone. That's a safe ground. So be respectful to everyone. You know. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. And then and Uttama is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean. Yeah. Did we read that? We read that, isn't it? No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong paragraph. I've been scrolling up and down, and we already described that.
Yeah, the last sentence of that para.
Yeah,
But those newly formed.
yeah. Okay, let's read a bit more, shall we? Anyone like to read? I can't see any hands up here. If anyone would like to read, they can.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Okay. I think I'm at the right place. But those nympha devotees who are actually, is that right? I'm reading? Actually,
I don't know. Someone else better tell us. I've been.
In this Krishna conscious movement.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Oh, we didn't read that last sentence, isn't it? I don't know. Okay.
we did. So
Okay.
in this Christian conscious movement,
Moment, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, or color. Everyone is invited to join this moment. Sit with us, take prasada, and hear about Krishna. When we see that someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept him as a disciple for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. When a devotee is actually initiated and engaged in devotional service by the orders of the spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisances should be offered unto him. Out of many such Vaishnavas, one may found to be very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord and strictly following all the regulatory principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds and japa beads, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as an Uttamadhikari, a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought.
okay, perhaps we'll just pause there because there's an important point here
Yes.
as well. So Prabhupada's definition of Uttam Adhikari. Yeah. I think later on, here, or perhaps elsewhere, here, probably comes up soon, that we're recommended to take initiation from, you can take initiation from a Kanishta Adhikari, from a Madhyam Adhikari, or Uttam Adhikari. But Prabhupada says if you take initiation, say, from a Kanishta, then you may not be properly guided to the ultimate goal. So sometimes there's perhaps a over-intelligent, you could say, discussion on who's Uttam, who's Uttam. And I remember there was many years ago in the 90s, early 90s, there was there was a lot of persons were saying one particular Vaishnava who wasn't within our ISKCON fold, he was the only Uttama. And everyone should take diksha from him. Yeah. But here's Prabhupada's, how many of our perspective, how many people do you know in our ISKCON movement who are always thinking to expand the Krishna conscious movement? So many. Niranjana Swami, all your respective spiritual masters like Jayapataka Maharaj, Niranjana Swami, Indraduma Swami Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, also back to True Swami when he was still with us. That's their life and soul, is how to spread Krishna consciousness. So they are Uttam. That's Uttamadhikari. They have the highest qualification. And we are serving them. We are kind of trying, they are desirous that books get, like Vaishya, they're very desirous very compassionate to the world. And we're serving their desire, actually. And hopefully we can develop that same type of compassion, that type of Uttam concern, for the welfare of everyone on the planet. And that's Uttam consciousness, So we're not short of Uttam Adhikaris, that's for sure. Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is big. Preaching, so much preaching. The whole life and soul is preaching and sharing and giving Krishna consciousness. So I'll just bring that up because I remember sometimes it's, who can give diksha, well, they have to be, bhava or something. In one sense, that would be nice, but here's the definition of Uttam that Prabhupada gives. Someone who's always thinking how to expand the Krishna conscious movement. Yeah. So their association should always be sought after. Yeah. All right. And now Prabhupada's going to speak about the process of diksha next. Anything else about that, or any nice point? Everyone's invited to take prasad, isn't it?
Yeah, without discrimination, of course.
Without discrimination. Sometimes you have to make discrimination in the temple, especially if a homeless person hasn't washed for like 10 years. We might send them to give them a card which says King's Cross, go get food for all. But no, generally everyone.
Yeah.
And it's very nice, actually. It's a very nice way to it's very nice that newcomers come, they sit down with Vaishnavas and they take prasadam.
Yeah.
It's a very nice way to develop relationship. Other movements like Christians don't do that. I don't think it's not as if they have a big meal and they all sit down together and hear. They might do in some place, but Prabhupada started that, didn't he? Very early on, he started the Sunday love programs, and he invited everyone, even whether you're on amphetamines or LSD, or it doesn't matter. You come and take prasadam. Whatever drug you're on or whatever state of madness you're in, Prabhupada had open doors, to everyone. My iPad's just run out of black batteries, so I can't see the nectar of instruction anymore. But anyway, I can hear it at least. Okay, now we're going to hear about diksha. Someone else, Samudhara Radhika, you have your hand up for reading, yeah?
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. And I'm just going to pull up on the computer another. Yeah, carry on, Mother.
Okay. The process by which a devotee becomes attached to Krishna is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anya Gita. Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan, say kale Krishna tare kare atma sama. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders to the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as he himself. Diksha or spiritual initiation is explained in the Bhakti Sandarbha 283 by Srila Jiva Goswami. Divyanam jnana yato dadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam tasma diksheti saprokta desikaish tattva kovidai. By
Nice
Diksha,
pronunciation. Very good. Yeah.
by Diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in material enjoyment and gradually becomes interested in spiritual life. We have seen many practical examples of this, especially in Europe and America. Many students who come to us from rich and respectable families quickly lose all interest in material enjoyment and become very eager to enter into spiritual life. Although they come from very wealthy families, many of them accept living conditions that are not very comfortable. Indeed, for Krishna's sake, they are prepared to accept any living condition as long as they can live in the temple and associate with the Vaishnavas. When one becomes so disinterested in material enjoyment, he becomes fit for initiation by the spiritual master. For the advancement of spiritual life, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.13 prescribes Tapasya brahmacharyena shamena cha damena cha. When a person is serious about accepting diksha, he must be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of the mind and body. If one is so prepared and is desirous of receiving spiritual enlightenment, Divyanam Jnanam, he is fit for being initiated. Divyanam Jnanam is technically called Tadvijnana, or knowledge about the Supreme. Tad vijnanartham sagurum eva bigachet. When one is interested in the transcendental subject matter of the absolute truth, he should be initiated. Such a person should approach a spiritual master in order to take diksha. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21 also prescribes Tasmat gurum prapadyeta jignashuhu shreya uttamam. When one is actually interested in the transcendental science of the absolute truth, he should approach a spiritual master. One should not accept a spiritual master without following his instructions, nor should one accept a spiritual master just to make a fashionable show of spiritual life. One must be jignasu, very much inquisitive to learn from the bona fide spiritual master. The inquiries one makes should strictly pertain to transcendental science. Jignasu shreya uttamam. The word uttamam refers to that which is above material knowledge. Tamam means the darkness of this material world, and ut means transcendental. Generally, people are very interested in inquiring about mundane subject matters, but when one has lost such interest and is simply interested in transcendental subject matters, he is quite fit for being initiated. When one is actually initiated by the bona fide spiritual master, and when he seriously engages in the service of the Lord, he should be accepted as a Madhyam Adhikari.
I'll press for a pause there.
Okay.
Thank you. Very nice reading. Any reflections on this, the process of diksha?
Har Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I was thinking when a person is serious about accepting the diksha, he must be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of the mind and body. So,
You're reading it?
no, I'm just going back in the middle of
Okay.
the paragraph.
Yeah.
I was thinking, my God, even after years of practice, accepting diksha, uh, it is so difficult to get into these three. You say one person is serious about accepting diksha, we should be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of the mind and body. So
Yeah, that's basically Prabhupada's speaking about the four regulative principles.
okay,
Yeah.
control of the mind and body. Control of the mind and body, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's the and the spiritual master basically he initiates diksha means that he imparts transcendental knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you have to apply it. You know, Bhagavad Gita explains the mind we should elevate ourselves through the mind, and not degrade ourselves. The mind can be the best friend or our worst enemy. So there's an instruction which we have to apply. You know, one who's failed to control the mind, and the mind will be the greatest enemy. So yeah, so the guru gives diksha, which primarily is not just the formal sitting down and, you know, within the ceremony. That's just a small part of it. The actual process of diksha is to hear from the spiritual master. Yeah. And when you're hearing from the spiritual master about Krishna, then then that is initiation, where you accept that, you accept the spiritual master as being bona fide, and you're hearing from it. That's why Prabhupada quotes Stupa Goswami, Divyam Gyanam. So diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in material enjoyment. So that becoming disinterested in material enjoyment, it's not like a magic spell. It's like knowledge. Yeah, you're being initiated in the process of transcendental knowledge, and then we become detached. That's what it means to be disinterested in material life and becoming interested in spiritual life. Yeah. So Prabhupada is making this point here as well, because he's given an example of many persons in the West, because some persons will say that diksha should only be given to those born in Brahmin families. We've been over that before. But anyone, if this becomes serious, they can take diksha. But Prabhupada's making the point here, one has to engage in tapasa, which basically he's speaking about the regulative principles. If one is willing to follow that, then they're fit to be initiated. Yeah. Divya Gyanam. But it means to be called Tat Vigyanam, or knowledge about the Supreme. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else we can pull from here? 5 minutes left.
I was just thinking to say, Prabhu, this morning, Bhaktivedanta Mana Janita Prabhu was giving the class. He was talking about Narottama Das Thakur's 3 books. He said,
Pratana, yeah.
and I remember when I was distributing this book, I never read it, and I was thinking, what is this small book? But when I started to understand and read, this is more than Bhagavad Gita. This small book.
Yeah, it's a small, big book.
Yes, this
It's
is
a small, powerful book.
Honestly, if you thorough this one, that means Bhagavad Gita is already covered. If you thorough this one,
Yeah, in one sense, you could,
yes.
in one sense. This is, I think there's 12 slokas in this book, and as we will see, it takes us from the very beginnings, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, and it's going to take us all the way to Radhakund. It's called the most sacred place on the planet, and the abode of can take us to Radhakund in very succinct verses. So we should be very thankful to Prabhupada that he chose to translate this one and give his purports and commentaries for his disciples, and subsequently us as well. Yeah. Yeah. So you might, when you're practicing many years and you're preaching to people, maybe in one degree or another. So this is how you can judge. You may encourage someone to start thinking about taking initiation when you think they're serious enough and convinced enough that they're going to take on the austerities of the regulative principles, which is a big thing for Western people. But when you see they're sufficiently serious, then you should encourage them. First, we encourage them to take shelter of Prabhupada, isn't it? You don't really engage them. That's a guru-disciple course, where someone who walks in the door, then you're not going to start telling them the glories of your spiritual master. No, you're going to speak about Prabhupada. Direct them to take shelter of Prabhupada, to read Prabhupada's books. It's not the right thing. Someone who's comes for the first time, let me come on, my spiritual master. You speak about Prabhupada and you direct them to Prabhupada. And the rest will come naturally. All right, so perhaps we can pause there for today. Nice discussion. We've got lots more, many wonderful verses are coming up. It's going to bring up lots more wonderful discussion. So as far as I know, we're leaving off on this paragraph, the chanting of the holy name. Is that correct? That's where we'll pick it up next week. I think it's all quiet, so I presume that's correct.
Sorry.
I've marked it, Prabhu.
Okay, Margaret, thank you. Okay, so tomorrow we're
Okay.
Hey, we're starting Brihad Bhagavatam.
yeah,
I had a little idea. I don't know first. I don't know. I'm just thinking.
yeah, please, yeah.
Nectar of Devotion, we finished it. Is there a way to recap it? We could like your slides and that go one by one, or is it too much for everybody?
Let me think how I did Nectar of Devotion.
Think about it. I mean, otherwise we'll go back to Uddhav Gita. I mean, Uddhav Gita is in my head. Read Bhagavad Gita. I was just thinking to recap it once before we can.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't have slides for all the chapters.
Oh,
I've got slides for the first 19 chapters because I teach Japa Bhakti Sastri. And
Okay.
then I was just going to, but what I did do, and I wasn't too sure whether to present it again, last week's class reading on the Nectar Devotion, which was about Rasa Bas. I mean, after the class, I mean, I wasn't fully satisfied because I couldn't really grasp it exactly. When I finished the class, first thing I did is I read through the Damodar Swami's explanation of it. Then I read through a bit more of Jiva Goswami, and it became so I actually got some slides together for the last chapter again. So, but I didn't want to, everyone's looking forward to Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So I could do that if you want.
Yes, please.
Yes,
To go over this last chapter again. It'd
Yes.
be quite quick.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
All
Prabhu.
right, people got their hands up because I think after last week's class, I think we all perhaps left thinking, what was that about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, that's why I was thinking, it didn't feel like finished.
Yeah, so what I did is I broke down the bit, I broke it, well, I didn't have a nervous breakdown. I mean, I actually broke it down, Damodar Swami's, and I put it in slides, and I've got some pictures with it, and I've spent a little time with it. So it should be, let's try and understand it a little bit more. And then if we've got time, we can just, what we can do if we've got time, we can just go into Brihad Bhagavatamrita and just look at the chapters that we're going to cover.
Yes.
Like an introduction to the book.
Yes,
Because
please.
today I was looking up about the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and that's when I had to fight with Apple. I was trying to download it for an hour. And but I was looking at it, and I think it's very inspiring to hear about what's in there and where we're going to go with it and what we're going to hear about. So perhaps we can do that as well tomorrow, time willing.
Yeah.
We can have like an overview of it, just look at the title of the chapters and the different parts of it, and we can get our what we call spiritual taste buds ready.
Yes, please.
Do like that.
Chandra,
That's very good.
I was thinking, when we finish Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani.
Yeah, we're coming to the end of that soon as well.
Yeah, how about doing Uddhav Gita? I don't know. It's up. I mean, how would you feel?
I don't mind. I'm your servant. You can decide amongst yourselves. Long as it's I'm happy to do anything, long as it's not the Bible or the Quran or.
Oh, I was thinking that was going to be the next question. Can we do the Bible first and then the
Oh, sorry. That's where I draw my boundaries. We have to stick to Prabhupada's book.
We'll have to find another teacher for that.
Yeah. there's Srimad Bhagavatam, that's a massive one to go into. But anyway, you can decide Uddhava Gita. I mean, you mean the Uddhava Gita is a separate,
The book. The book.
yeah, that's by commentary by, there's a separate book, isn't it?
I've got it. I just need to, yeah.
Anyway, you can decide amongst yourselves.
Yeah, whatever. everybody wants.
Yeah, you can
I'm just
just let me
thinking
know.
I was just thinking
Yeah.
that I had like a couple of devotees who they just came to me and said, "Oh, your classes are really good." One I had to send the link. She
Oh,
really liked the
nice. That's good.
Thursday classes, and yeah, so I was.
Yeah, you can direct them to the YouTube thing we got, and they can,
I've done that. Yeah, I've
yeah,
done
at
that.
their leisure, they can have a look at the titles. And I'm putting a description in each one I upload.
Yeah.
Then I put a description of what we cover in the class. Like today, for today's recording, I will put about the discussion we had, you know, so people, if they're interested in that specific aspect of it, they can see that.
So Prabhu, are we not doing what Chandravali Mataji said, doing the nature of devotion slides? I thought you would do that, no?
Well, I haven't got slides for all. I've got slides for the beginning, but I haven't got slides for all the, and because that's not, because I've got slides for all Sudha Bhakti Chintamani. But if you remember, then Nectar Devotion, it wasn't all slides. It was just really.
Yeah. I just wanted to go over, so many Sanskrit words and get into transfer them into English and get into my head, So whenever these words come up in other books, I can relate it. But
Yeah.
it's okay.
What I suggested, well, you're all busy, but what I suggest to do, what you'll find is now we've studied, say, Nectar Devotion, when you read it yourself, different lights to go off and you'll be very familiar with it. And a certain deeper level of appreciation will be there. But let's go over at least, I don't think we're going to have, let's stick to the plan tomorrow. Go over the last chapter and have an introduction to Brihat Bhagavatamrita.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. There's so many things to be done. Even I'd like to go over the Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, but we can't really do all that.
Yes.
But to understand everything,
Prabhu,
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
So
finished it.
we'll do a nectar of devotion.
Krishna. Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. I'm going to press the lead